You have one of those in the hole. Hi. Hey.
I can just plug in the old one.
Which old one?
That's Brandon. I'm Spence. Jeremy's right there. Parker's on the phone.
All right.
Max is sitting by. We're all good to go. Let's make it happen. L2 Wargame.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. 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 Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Can you mute Parker permanently?
I can. I'm not going to. In fact, I'm going to amp him.
Amping Parker.
Hello and welcome to Learn to Wargame, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or PG Mutilus on the forums.
This is Spence. I like Menoth. Just Spence.
This is Jeremy. I go by Lord Fool.
My name is Parker, and I go by Tweak on the forums, and I've been playing a lot of Cygnar recently. Speaking of Cygnar,
I haven't seen you play Cygnar in weeks.
that's because you haven't seen me play in weeks. I've been playing.
No, I saw you play yesterday.
I've been playing secret games. Secrets.
I saw you play yesterday.
I have secrets.
He has other
You
friends.
don't know me.
Literally
We're
not
reserving
true.
this discussion until Jake can be involved, okay?
That's fair.
Now, back to what we were saying before we decided to go do an intro and make Jeremy have to edit things and weird things.
What are you talking about with these
He keeps
edits?
using words.
So,
Spence
Parker,
doesn't listen
what
to
are you
these.
doing differently with Cygnar right now?
Brandon, you talk about what you like about what happened to Cygnar and what's prompted me doing all this weird stuff.
I was super happy Cygnar got nerfed because it was like, I don't know, it's like a pillow with a rock in it because it was so lopsided.
Uh-huh.
And they took the rock out and replaced it with a slightly smaller rock. So now it's a little bit more even. Which means that they can actually give them good releases.
That is the worst analogy ever, but I get what you're saying, yeah.
Shut up.
What? None of that makes
How about this? Cygnar players think Tempest Blazers are bad. They need to be
That-
fucking
that
shot.
every
in the
time
face.
Every time I hear
It's true. They do need a UA.
When's the last time we got good release? Haley 2. That's the only time ever. Like, the store wall. Like, shut up. It's like, just jam your own ass up your own ass. Like,
As one of the non-whiny Cygnar players, I love digging into the pockets of Cygnar, and I was, like Brandon said, I didn't like how shallow the top of the pool was. Like, it was, you must play E-Kane, E-Haley, and then when the meta started shifting, you had to play Siege, E-Haley, or maybe...
it's like a pyramid scheme. So it's like Haley was at top, and then there was like Siege, Kane 2, and then maybe Haley 1 as like the trifecta below that, and then there's like Nemo 1, Nemo 3, Striker 2, like, and then like 4 other casters, and then below that is just the dredges that they pretend aren't part of their faction, which really isn't fair because every caster in Cygnar is better than like a third of the casters in like every other faction.
Sturgis.
No, Sturgis is bad. I'll give you Sturgis is bad.
I'm thoroughly shocked by fucking, what's the hell's her name? The bitch that I like. Kara Sloan, yeah. Every time I see her card, I'm like, God, I want this. I want to play as this fucking caster. I want this in something. Every time I see this, I want it, but they're all like, no, she's no good.
So, yeah, Kara Sloan, what's the...
Put it in
Sturgis,
Menoth.
And maybe one
I
other
want
caster
her
in
in
the
Menoth.
faction is actually, like, unplayably bad in tournaments.
Darius.
Everyone else
Darius
is
is pretty hard.
Yeah, Darius.
I completely disagree with Darius is unplayable in tournaments.
I want
People
her
don't know
in
how to
Menoth.
play Darius, maybe.
I want her in Menoth so bad.
Anyway, yeah, I think he's on the bottom tier of playable
Yeah,
casters.
yeah.
I'm not saying that he's great. But the thing I hate, we were talking about, like, 2-list pairs, and the thing that annoyed me most about Cygnar forever is that they were always the same 2 fucking lists over and over again. More than every other faction.
And now with the advent of the gods saying that Haley 2 doesn't just get to do everything for free all the time anyway,
Right, and it wasn't
me
even
whining
that,
and bitching.
it wasn't even that serious of a nerf. Like, her spell list is still stupid, her feet got slightly nerfed. Big fucking...
And she's not bad now. You can definitely still play her, but now there's not this overwhelming consensus that you have to play Cygnar this way.
Well, even that it changed what she covers in the matchups, that you actually have to think about your second list. It's not just whatever the internet thinks is the best caster at the time.
I think...
So, but specifically the reason I hated Epic Kane is because I, for some reason, think that he is the least original caster in the faction because he plays the typical, I'm going to shoot you a lot, and then the way that he's been played is the most popular list is like you have Boom Howlers and, other, like, maybe Hammer Dwarf stuff. Like, you have the same, like, 3 units that always appear in his list, and like the same 5 merc solos. And he plays the exact same way, and it's so fucking boring and stale.
He's a super solo, and so you just run good things that are good with him, and things that are good are generally mercenaries, because for the points, mercenaries have more abilities than regular troops. So,
but it's not like it's the same shit, because every Cygnar player's been ingrained that you need boom howlers that are immune to knockdown so you can play fucking Warmachine. Like, no, you don't absolutely have to take that every fucking time.
I think
I might have to finish busting out that Street Sweeper. Let's.
Anyway, it just annoys me, because the thing I hated most about Cygnar is how monotonous they were, because they were so repetitive, and that it was the worst of that. Because at least Haley could play different things. There's like 10 different Haley lists. They're all like high-level tournament lists. The Siege can play many different lists. Although you saw kind of the same concept with him a lot, he did switch shit out, and it was semi-original. That's where I think Kane 2 is just the least original thing ever in the history of the game. Ever since like Heath won a tournament.
Mm-hmm. I think so. What I've been doing in Cygnar recently is, we just said it in the pre-ramble, like digging into my pockets and finding change and finding things to do, literally and figuratively finding new things to do with Cygnar. And the first thing came with Ace coming out. I love Ace. I love the Hunter chassis, like in general, the Hunter chassis, and like aesthetically and like what it does, what it is, the fluff and everything it does in the game. Like, I really love it. And so I had 3 Hunters for the longest time, but with the advent of Ace, you can actually play the full Sons of the Tempest Tier 4 list, but you quote unquote need to have 4 Hunters if you do the standard one, which is 4 Hunters. So I built it, and my Ace got painted, and my 4th Hunter got painted. So I played it the other day with PK's tier list, and it was so much fun. And I ended up winning on the backs of 4 Hunters and Ace's Shadowfire ability. But 4 Hunters, as it turns out, is really, really strong. And I mean, the fact that all the other gun mages in the list were also really awesome. But the thing that was winning the game for me the whole time were the 4 Hunters. In one turn, I took a Kraken down to half health. Notice it's a Kraken with, so it's not the strongest Colossal, but again, like half health a Kraken. So if I had 2 turns to do it, the 4 Hunters were taking him down. And that was just fucking awesome. Like, wow, this is something Cygnar can do. I can take down big health guys. And so I started looking at other ways to use the 4 Hunters, and I came up with a bunch of ideas. One of them, Spence, was actually Sloan. Using 400 2-minute man Sloan, I think it was. It was like 400 1-minute man, and then some other stuff. It looked like a lot of fun. But the problem with Sloan, I played her a bunch, and the problem with her is she actually doesn't get to boost damage. You get amazing numbers of attacks like on her feet turn, and really consistent damage. So really consistent attack rolls and things with her, because you get to aim almost all the time and stuff.
And we get armor piercing, being able to boost just feels like it's godly.
Right. The problem with armor piercing is it kind of needs to boost, not 100%, but if you feel like that.
If you don't, you feel like you're wasting it.
So I came up with this weird ass list, and you guys can tell me it's awful, but this is my weird ass list. The goal was I want to run 4 Hunters, and all of them get multiple boosted shots of damage rolls, but I need to make sure the attack rolls hit, so I'm not losing the what I'm doing. So here it is. It's P. Haley. So P. Haley with a Squire.
I had already figured that out based on what he previously said. Anybody else?
P. Haley Squire. Hunt. I didn't know how much of that pre-ramble stuff was going to be in here. So it's
shut up and let him talk.
No, I was being serious. Based on the previous sentence, I had already figured.
The multiple.
I see what you're saying. So
I don't play them, so I don't know what everybody knows.
So the idea is P. Haley is dropping defense, so you don't have to worry, and she's giving your whole army more turns because they're not running or charging at you. So basically, you're going to get plenty of turns to use your Hunters, and the only thing you're worried about is getting shot down to death. So that is a concern. So you're just going to try to sit in things like cover. But so it's P. Haley with a Squire, a Hunter. And I had points left over when I was building the list looking for something for Arcane Shield, and so I did Old Rowdy, because she actually, if you've never done Old Rowdy with her, she really likes it, because Arcane Shield is something on it that it doesn't have to have, so if you need to drop it for some reason, then you can. Otherwise, with it, he's a monster, because if you
and they can't charge.
Right, if you can't charge him.
So he has counter charge.
Right.
That's kind of
so what happens is when they try to walk into your space where he is, they can't charge. You countercharge. Usually that's not always a fantastic thing to countercharge into an opponent because then they can use their other activations to charge your guy that you countercharge with. But because you have the Squire helping you with the 16-inch temporal barrier, you're never letting Old Rowdy get charged after he does his own charge. And then it's really hard to take Old Rowdy down while he's doing all that. And then he has the Mat 8 knockdown ring and all that stuff to help you with your range attacks. So you got Hunter, Old Rowdy, and this is how you get fully maxed out damage rolls on her feat turn. Strange Ways with a Hunter. So Strange Ways with the Hunter can give the Hunter a focus and then use the faux focus he has for being a Jack Marshall. So he actually gets 2 boosted damage rolls. Then Jake's with 2 Hunters because she has 4 focus, so she can give each one a focus. And then Unit of Rangers for a couple reasons. One, there was 5 points left in the. There's an odd number of points. The Rangers do 2 things. One, you don't have a lot of focus to cast Deadeye and that kind of stuff, so you probably wouldn't want to anyway. So the Rangers go out there and basically give all of your Hunters +4 to hit, meaning they're not missing when they're doing all that shooting, because the things you're shooting at are usually defense. Unless they're using cover or something weird, they're usually somewhere between defense 12 and like 14, somewhere in there. So you're making that happen. And the only thing you're not hitting are circle stealth beasts and some Crix stealth heavies. That's about it. And then actually I had 10 points left over, so I daddled along with a lot of things. You could easily do Tempest Blazers because they're amazing with her. Fast cav with her means that you actually don't get charged when you reach out and kill someone. That's really nice. I actually decided to go with Long Gunner Infantry, and
because you love long gunners.
I do love Long Gunners. And another thing is Deadeye is really strong on Long Gunners, of course. And on her feet turn, you basically can move and shoot and you're standing still, and then you're shooting. You're kind of getting her feet every turn-ish. And then if your opponent does something really silly, like come into their 14-inch range before your feet turn, then you get 3 POW 20s, and it's just dead. The idea behind this is you can shoot heavies off really fast. You can shoot, 8 health, armor, 20-ish guys off pretty darn quick. And when everybody gets to you eventually, they're doing it pretty darn slowly. It doesn't kill armor for days, but it does a lot of damage over time. And they're just slow enough. And basically, Haley adds a turn with her feet and then subtracts a turn from them with Temporal Barrier. So you get 2 turns of Hunter boosted shooting on them constantly. And then you've got Long Gunner Infantry and Rangers to carry out the any small bases that are trying to get at you, too.
All right, what do you not want to play this against?
Oh, just like every Cygnar list, you never want to Meat Mountain is probably still too much. Maybe.
The Hunters help a lot.
The Hunters help a lot.
You'd be surprised.
Meat Mountain could, you can still struggle with it because, like, your Hunters should be able to, do good. They should be able to do nice damage to something like the front line of warders, but if one of them toughs, then you're like, oh, fuck, that's another turn.
Stealth gun line is really bad.
And they're not putting out enough attacks.
Right, a stealth gun line would not be strong for this list, because this list has nothing to deal with stealth. It's a weird Cygnar list that doesn't do anything with stealth. It is not an anti-stealth list.
I like thematically what the idea of the list is, because it's like, it somewhat feels like an underdogs and a lot of guns thing, because I mean, having Rowdy there, it's like, I like it thematically. I'm curious about it actually on the table against what we see out there. Against different factions. Like, immediately Chromac 2 came to mind.
Chromac 2, you'd probably be okay.
Actually, against Chromac 2, I think
because he relies pretty heavily on charging, as opposed to a lot of the other circle casters that rely on stones. Because other than, because you didn't have Flag 13, did you?
No.
You have, no way to deal with stones. So, yeah, he just ports a beast into his lines and kills whatever he wants. That's really bad. Because, if you've got... The problem is, I don't think Gedorex could go for stealth, so you can shoot Gedorex. So, but if he just puts...
But aren't they all just behind clouds?
You can shoot the Druids, though.
The Druids are dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the Druids get -2 defense, so camouflage is gone. So there's 16. Boosting guns from the Hunters kill them.
Okay.
Not to mention anything else you want to do. Right. The problem is that you get 3 turns of shooting to get rid of the clouds.
It's not the clouds you're worried about. It's honestly at that point, if he's smart, he's going to use like stalkers in forests or something like that. If he gets, but then you rely upon terrain, so I might be able to play that game. So like, it's what she's worried about are things like Nightmare would be like pretty darn terrifying. But that's the other thing about I thought about this. Those kind of things are scary, but they don't have guns. So if they get within 11 inches of the hunters, and that's where they end their turn because they're trying to get into melee with things like the hunters, then the hunters just all walk up and just murder it.
You're Jack Marshalling the hunters, right? What were they on?
Only one hunter is Jack Marshalled, actually.
Okay, and he's on Strangeways?
And then Jake's is running the other two hunters.
So you have no gun mages, so just general stealth infantry would be a problem.
Right. So like,
depending on what it is.
Stealth infantry would be a problem, depending on what, like you said. But any high defense stealth infantry is still not great for them, because I might just be able to, because temporal barrier just says we'll just stay there, and I'm just going to walk up and kill the guys.
But like Iron Flesh Chaosi would be a serious problem, I would think, because you don't have any AOE damage really, and you've got a decent number of accurate attacks, and you bring them back down to a fairly manageable defense, and they can't charge. But with Gang, I feel like they would just, if he played it right, he would go for the long gunners or the infantry, and Rowdy can't protect all of them.
Right.
So he'd put 3 guys on Rowdy and pin him in, and then everyone else would go for your long gunners, and then just kill them because they're long gunners. And then he would just ignore Rowdy and then go engage hunters and stuff by surrounding them, just so they couldn't shoot, which would delay.
One thing that does have against this, and it's kind of it's a longer shot, you just have to play it by ear, is if you wanted to, you can actually chain lightning things like Rowdy.
You could, but then you're not. I don't know if it depends on what he's playing other than the Chaosies. Right. But you probably couldn't afford to not temporal barrier against a Caedox.
Well, no, you could. What I'm saying is you can chain lightning and temporal barrier if you wanted to.
You're saying chain lightning your own Rowdy or something.
Right. It
just depends, because it's really dicey when you're giving up one of your hits, when it's D6 plus 1. Because, I mean, even if you kill 2 guys, is it really worth going empty against Caedox?
If they have a gun, no. But if they don't have a gun, sure. But they should have a gun.
I guess it depends on the... That's to the point where, like, they might just kill you with their caster. Like, there's a lot of things they could do at that point.
Is it fun, though? I mean, it sounds fun.
Haley 1's really fun to play with, usually, because you get to do whatever you want.
Well, and this sounds like it's I like it. Every time I've ever found a list where I feel like I'm playing a little bit differently than the game I think is, I hate to use the term supposed to be played, but, like, there's a niche for how the game is played. Every army, every faction, it varies very little between factions. You know, it's like, okay, well, this one likes to run infantry, this one likes to run jacks. Like, I like that. It seems like in this, it's like, I like what I said, number one, it's thematic. I like the idea of having the small jacks with the really cool guns, the hunters. I like the idea of having,
you know, a lot of elitist troops.
Yeah, I like the fact that she's using her time magic to make sure her underdogs, effectively, or her smaller, meeker troops are getting it overhand. I like all that. I think that's going to be more fun to play. And I like the fact that you're trying to get something. You're not trying to get blood from a stone here, but I feel like you're something where there are going to be some matchups that are going to be more difficult, and you're going to have to try and be really creative and pull something out of it. That's going to be cool. I mean, I like all that. That to me seems more fun than this is. Like we were saying earlier, this is Kane 2's list. It does one very simple thing. We played against this. Or the Haley 2 all-comers, I'll play everything with this list. I like the idea of it being more fun.
The thing is, I think at the same time, if you took out Hunter, Rowdy, Strangeways, second Hunter, like the Hunter and Rowdy off of Haley, and Strangeways and his Hunter out, and just put in, let me see, what is this? 12, 20.
It's 23 points.
23 points. That's exactly... Black
Stormwall Jr. and
no, that's just Stormwall. You just do Stormwall Black 13th, like, and all of a sudden the list becomes you still have 2 hunters on Jake's, so you're still running hunter, but so you're not losing any guns because the hunter guns turn into the Stormwall's guns, and on.
Actually, it is a little different, but yes,
it's slightly different. You're not getting the old Rowdy. You're not getting the fantastic old Rowdy tech, but you're getting now a lot of anti-stealth tech. You're getting a huge amount of template control. Like, you're gaining a massive amount of template control, and you're getting anti-stealth stuff with, like, the Black 13th. You're gaining 3 boosted guns that you don't get with Old Rowdy and Strangeways. So, I mean, I think the list is probably strictly more rounded to do that style, but
Doesn't sound as fun, though.
Yeah.
It seems more familiar. The fact that, I mean, every time I see Haley storm all the table, whether it's Haley 1 or Haley 2, I know it's always Haley 2, but so it's just, I kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play this game. Right. So, playing against, I mean, good or bad, better or worse, playing against Haley 1 with a bunch of hunters and whatnot, I think that'd be a more fun game, be more interesting to play against. I mean, it'd be sitting down at the game store, playing on Monday evening. That would be more interesting to see than, hey, it's a Stormwall and Cygnar, yay.
Yeah.
I won't even want to sit next to that table and watch it. I just don't care. So that's good at getting, change from the bottom of your pockets, I suppose.
One of the things it does do is, like, when you play the Stormwall in Cygnar, you take your model count down to really low, and you need to make sure the Stormwall doesn't die. Haley does a pretty good job of keeping that alive, for sure. But doing, trading those four models, you're getting 4 models because you're also getting Vlad 13th. Like, I'm saying it out loud. Listeners who are listening to this podcast, obviously Stormwall is better. Ugh. Like, it sucks. Because Spence, you're right. Like, the point of this list was to run more hunters and to see if I could do really awesome hunter stuff. Mm-hmm. And as it turns out, the Stormwall is just better than more hunters. God damn it.
Just the things work a certain way. That doesn't change the fact. It's like, I'm the worst example of it all. It's like, I want to run more nights. We were talking about Durst in our Menoth podcast, and we were talking about how, what could we potentially run with Durst? And Brandon brought up the idea of, I like running nights with Durst. Like, oh my god!
Side of the building, to the side of us, he's going on the floor above us.
Oh, that's back. I had no idea somebody else was talking. But you're like, who's on the call? Someone else was here? It was like, but no, it's like the idea of being able to run nights with what I want. Being able to run what I want. Whether it's better or worse. But now if I find out running what I want winds up being something that's viable, hell yeah. Now, is it better than running this optimized, list? No, but I get to play with what I want, and that's what it's about.
That's why I picked up Haley 1, because it seems like it's not set in the stone like Haley 2 is.
Mm-hmm. Haley 1's list has been through many iterations, but for some reason she's been super unpopular lately. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why that is.
I think it's because Haley 2 is more control.
I mean, Haley 1 is more control, probably, I would say. But Haley 2 has more answers to problems. I mean, if you're looking at the two of them, obviously, I think Haley 2 is the superior caster in general. I'm just saying that I haven't seen Haley 1. And I've seen people play a pair without Haley 2 in it. Then, it's usually the random player at a tournament, but I see Haley 1 so rarely. So rarely. I think I've played against Nemo 3 more than Haley 1. I don't see how that's a thing. Because Haley 1, I think, is strictly superior to Haley.
I'm terrified of Haley 1.
Yeah.
Ever since Parker put Haley 1 against me in that one game where I freaked out and, died like a little girl because I had no idea what I was doing, that doesn't narrow it down, I'm sorry. But when I saw, every time somebody says Haley 1, I'm like, oh god, how am I going to do this? I have no clue. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I get scared. I played Haley 2 enough times that I'm like, okay, it's going to be this game. And not that she's easier by any means. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's more familiar. It's boring. I really hope that, let's go ahead and, blow the idea of the nerf again, but the idea of, Cygnar being able to play other things or being blessed by, the high heavens saying, okay, now you don't have to play this. You get to play whatever you want. I hope to get to see more fun things. I hope to get to see Nemo on the table ever. I hope to get to see, I'd like to see Kane 1. I want to see Kane 1 on the table. That actually gets more interesting. Now, the new releases they have coming out, what do they have? The Trencher Buster, I don't really care about.
He's okay. Ace is fine.
Ace is going to be very niche, I think.
The Hurricane's going to be interesting with a couple casters.
I think the only thing they don't have out of the book is Hurricane.
I don't think the Trencher Buster is officially released.
Oh, yeah.
What else is coming?
The Hurricane, I think, is actually going to be a huge boon for Haley 1.
Yeah,
because
it is.
The ability to push people away with your big POW guns, and when you already have the ability to make them not be able to charge, is really
and it's an arc node that you can hide behind and not die with when you go empty.
The Reliant? Is the Reliant?
The Reliant is out.
Yeah.
But it was it
was in the previous book.
Okay.
Same as the Growlar and the Indictor and all that.
I don't know what those models are. They're not real.
The Reliant, the Growlar.
None of those models are real. So Cygnar, really, we're not going to see any big changes directly coming from the book itself. Mostly, it's probably going to be the idea of it being Haley
Cygnar,
changed.
The nerf is, The thing I'm excited about the nerf is I think it obviously opens up a lot of design space, so they will get things they never would have gotten before Haley got nerfed, and honestly I think they didn't go far enough with the nerf, but I was surprised that it even happened, so I think it's good for the game in a lot of ways.
I really want to see them do other things. I would not hate playing that faction now because I feel like even me not wanting to play many other factions, like every time I considered playing that faction, I would really feel bad if I didn't play something that I felt like was that strong. I would really feel bad about it. It'd feel like I was just wasting my time. Like right now, if I played Crix, I'd have to play Denny 1. No matter what else I like in Crix, I've liked Denny forever, and Denny 1's still stupid. I would have to play it. Who's the Kraus 2 of every faction? Go.
Scar 1.
Hey, here's speaking of. Okay, so while I got really quiet because I kept staring at this list because after saying out loud that Stormwall was better, I had to just sit here and stare at it until I actually.
Hunters are potentially better than Stormwall in a lot of ways, but
doesn't she just give them all an extra shot? And wouldn't the Stormwall just be getting one extra shot as opposed to getting 2 Hunters?
So 2 Hunters not only being 7 points cheaper than a Stormwall, having 2 shots base. Being able to boost them individually easier than the Stormwall is to boost its 2 shots because it's costing Haley 2 focus. Because if you give it 1 from Power Booster, you can't give it a second one. So if you're boosting both of its guns, it's costing your 7 focus caster 2 focus, when she needs to spend 4 on a single spell. So that's annoying, as where you just Jack Marshal the 2 Hunters, they're aiming to rat 9, Temporal Barrier to rat 11, and then boosting 2 armor-piercing guns. They're not great against everything, but they're actually better against a lot.
The problem is you can't boost both shots if you want to boost both damage rolls.
Right, on her feet turn specifically, but neither can the Stormwall. If you're spending 4 for Temporal Barrier and 3 to allocate to the Stormwall, I think you're in a different position altogether.
And I like the Rowdy.
You can do that with...
But I also think the Rowdy is going to be a hell of a lot stronger in a situation where he can run the table.
But we're also talking about something that's 7 points more. And you're getting a Stormwall, which I don't like running Colossals with Haley 1 because the 5-inch template in front of her basically reduces the effective temporal barrier for that 5 inches. Because she's going to be standing behind it, which means she's standing further back because the thing she's standing behind is larger.
It's true.
So there are several points that actually would make Parker's idea initially make sense.
No, it definitely does make sense. Like the Kane 1 list with a bunch of Hunters, the Sons of the Tempest list, is actually really good against me, though. Like, it's almost like an auto win.
Because you push everything around.
Yeah, you push everything back and kill what you can every turn, and they just never get to you. They will probably never engage one of your buttons.
Another weird thing about that list I didn't realize until I was looking at it, the whole thing is minimally defense like 14 or some shit. Everything's defense 14,
Everything
15.
in the list is at least defense 14.
Yeah.
Base, everything.
Well,
except for, no, you can't even take a Squire.
Actually, I was thinking about this. Okay, Parker, the list again, so it's Rowdy, 4 Hunters, some Long Gunners, and Rangers.
Isn't it 6 Hunters? Or is it
It's 4.
Okay.
So it's 4 Hunters, 3 units of Gun Mages.
No, he's talking about the Haley list right now, isn't he?
Oh, sorry.
Well, the thing I like about that list also is, like, it's not really a big target for them to go after. They can't just say, I'm going to take out this big part of your army.
Oh, right. There's no real point of attack, because it's just a lot of the same shit.
Right.
The only thing is if you take the Blazers, because they're allowed in the tier, you could play that. I think you
guys are talking about 2 different things. I think Spence is talking about the Haley.
Okay, I'm still talking about Kane 1. You guys talk about Haley.
You said you had 2 of them on Jake's?
Right, so the idea about the P. Haley list has 2 of them on Jake's, and the reason why she has 4 focus, so she actually gets out 2 to each one, so they're boosting both damage rolls. I had 5 focus left over. 5 points left over at the end of the list building. So if I wanted to, I could turn that into like Black 13th to give you a little bit of stealth stuff. Like that's a possibility. If I thought I needed the extra 2. Honestly, the Rangers are in there because they each get 2 shots on feet turn, unless they're dead, and you basically make the whole army +4 to hit, which means everything can move and shoot. That's one of the things I liked about the Rangers. When I was looking at it, I go, now I don't have to try to sit and aim to get the 11. Everything in the army can move and shoot. The Long Gunners can move and shoot at rat 9 if they don't combine. The Hunter and the Hunters all move and shoot at rat 11. Like even Strange Ways moves and shoots at 9 with his spray template if you got that somehow. Everything moves and shoots. The only thing
+4 to hit is apparently a big deal.
So it would be it would be bad if you paid 5 points for a unit that gave you +2 to hit for your whole army, but they also have POW 11 fucking guns. So, like, you're also, like, getting close and digging deep into your opponent. You're killing a lot of support shit behind them.
There are bodies that are in the way that give you benefits for being in the way.
So they're like you said, and they're in the way, and they're camouflage, and they're pathfinders, so you get some pathfinder, more pathfinder, in addition to the hunters. Strange Ways is there for 2 reasons. One, because old Rowdy loves Strange Ways. Like, giving him evasive is like dumb as shit. Also, Power Booster works nice for old Rowdy because he'll charge for free and then boost the big slam, like AoE slam or something like that, which actually works pretty well. And Strange Ways can fix one of the hunters if like the gun gets knocked off or something.
Yeah.
But the other thing is Strange Ways just power boosts his hunter and gives him also the free one. It's been a hunter, like, Strange Ways has been a cheaper version of the Journeyman Hunter for a long time, but people usually go for the Journeyman Hunter if they want to use a hunter on him, because the Journeyman also has Arcane Shield. But you've got Arcane Shield on Haley, and because old Rowdy runs for free, that's the other thing about it. The hunter ever only needs probably 1. In this list, the hunter only needs 1 focus, except for your feat turn where it needs 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you can Arcane Shield old Rowdy or not. Like, so you can actually run Haley as a focus 8 pretty consistently. So she can use, like, some of her spells, or, camp to focus and make her virtually immune to spells, because anybody casting more than 2 spells is kind of silly at her. So it's pretty, like, she has some interesting, like, this does some interesting stuff. The only thing that, like you said, it struggles with is stealth infantry. But if you saw stealth infantry, if that's something that you saw, you could run something else, and you might just win because it's just Haley, right? Like,
yeah,
because it has to be stealth range infantry. It has to be like retribution infantry.
Okay, dumb question because someone knows this off the top of their heads, but stealth infantry Rowdy. Doesn't Rowdy say a lot about that? I mean, like, what stealth infantry with an Arcane Shield and Rowdy? Like,
Rowdy doesn't have reach.
it's not that they kill Rowdy, it's that they kill everyone else.
Well, can't Rowdy just beeline at them and they have to go
He
around
doesn't have
them?
reach, so
The problem is he doesn't
he's
have
gonna kill, like, a guy at a time.
Right.
Not to mention they could just use anything else in their list to try and kill Rowdy.
Mhm.
Everything that doesn't beat your list goes at Rowdy.
The thing that Rowdy does in the list is that after having played this kind of Cygnar where I'm just going to try to shoot you down as you come to me, it's very rare that you can actually get everything shot down before it gets to you. So Rowdy is there for the one thing that you didn't get.
He's the catcher's mitt that stops the bleed over.
Mhm. But if it's stealth infantry, you're talking about like 8 or 9 models that are getting to you, maybe, if the Rangers don't do a good job. Funnily enough, if they position themselves poorly, like, that's at the same time, it has to be a stealth infantry model that is speed, even like speed 7. They're going to walk forward. Like, I can just ignore them as long as I'm outside of their threat range. The only thing they have to have, they have to also have a gun that can kill, like, the long gunners, for example. Like, they have to have a gun that's going to be hurting my stuff while I'm doing this. Stealth infantry just is harder for me because I don't remove it as instantly as the other stuff. We've been talking about this a lot.
Yeah, makes sense.
I do like Sons of the Tempest though, because actually Sons of the Tempest is it's exactly what you said, Brandon. Like, it was weird how much I was actually playing it against Mord Nebra in the list I played, in the game I played, and at first I was like, oh shit, gun mages against Mord Nebra. I don't think this will work at all. He's got nothing but like heavy jacks and stuff, and he actually ran a conquest. He ran the Kraken, and then I was like, okay, well, hunters shoot the Kraken. Oh well, shit, it's got half health. Gun mages shoot all of the jacks. Oh, they're all now 10 inches away. Oh, okay, like 10 inches like further away than they were at the start of the turn. I'm like, okay.
It's the only list that has nothing better than a POW 12 in the army that will murder me now.
Right.
Because there's nothing better than POW 12 in the list, but you will crush armor.
That's awesome. How do you hold territory? Or
You move them out of it and move into it.
Right.
Because you've got 20 guns that do Thunderbolt.
Got it.
They're all like Rat 7, and you can Deadeye because it's
Ace
Kane.
also has Thunderbolt.
Ace also has
And Kane also has.
Not to mention, you can snipe a unit of gun mages, walk forward, and shoot 20-inch threat Thunderbolts. with Deadeye.
I hate all things.
It's just a stupidly efficient list. Not to mention, like, if you have, like, the Gunmage Cav that are, like, being super aggressive, you can, like, blur them. So they're, like, 18 13s with 5 boxes, and you're like, that's fun.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's
Oh, look, I found a hill, so they're 20
Spence,
13s.
if you don't know the list, it's Kane. My list is, and there's very little variability in it because you can only take, it's a very restricted list. But it's Kane, Ace, Black 13th, Tempest Blazers, Arcane Tempest Gun Mages with UA, Arcane Tempest Gun Mages with UA, because you get a free UA.
Yeah.
And then 4 Hunters. And it's funny, when you try to make,
I love it. I love it. I want to
Each of the Arcane Tempest Gun Mage units gets 2 Hunters, basically. So the thing about it is, if you try to build this list with anybody else, the math doesn't work out because in your list, you actually get 5. Yeah, it's 5 free points.
You get a free UA and then a -1 point cost on the units.
Yeah, except for the Tempest Blazers, because they're technically...
Right, Blazers don't count.
So, but you get 3 points for one off of each unit and a free Gun Mage UA. So it basically pays for one of the Hunters, more or less. So, and then...
And I believe you also have the option, if you want to build the list that way, you can put, how many is it? 2 Hunters on Kane, and then 2 units of Gun Mages with double Hunter. I think it's pretty much the entire list.
Mm-hmm.
But you end up with 6 Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So you just be like, that Colossal's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then my 20 guns are going to shoot stuff. Like, that's how the list works.
That actually sounds
It's
really
interesting.
Fun. I would actually really be interested. Despite hating Cygnar, I would want to play that.
Also, the tier benefits you get, besides all the cheap stuff and the free stuff, is you get +1 to your starting game roll, and all of your Kane and the Arcane Tempest models and units gain stealth. And since everything's so...
First turn?
First turn, yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
since everything's so goddamn fast, like, you can actually, like, Tempest Blazers get, like, over the halfway point. If you get your turn 1, Tempest Blazers get over the halfway point, sitting there, and they sit there with snipe and stealth. And so basically they threaten the entire board at that point, and they have stealth.
Let me clarify this. So you're saying I could play 6 Hunters, bunch of just Gun Mage units, and Kane.
Yeah. And don't forget that the only model in the list that has above POW 10 is Kane. And he's the reason there are POW 12s. I guess if you count the Hunter's melee weapon, that's like POW 13.
No, they're POW 11. They're POW 11.
POW 11!
It seems like an awesome idea. Like, I would love to see that.
No, the list definitely works. I've played against it. It's actually really annoying. You're like, I'm gonna watch all my stuff get moved around and die. Like, that's basically what happens.
Also,
It can't be that expensive to actually buy.
It's really not, because everything in the list is crazy high coin cost.
Yeah.
also, I love Ace. Like, I love Ace. I think he's great.
If you ran the 6 Hunter version, there's 6 Hunters that are $20. That's $120. Kane is like $12.
This is Kane 1.
Yeah. And then 2 units of Gun Mages with UA, that's each like $40, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like $215.
So cheap. Okay.
And, me and Max have like 3 units of Gun Mages already, so.
You know how I am about just like buying multiples of the same thing? Just having a whole army of the exact same thing? You know how I love that.
Yeah.
How many units of trenchers I have?
Spence.
What? Okay, now, am I crazy, or like Trencher's good with Haley 1, and I'm just stupid?
No, trenchers are really good with Halo 1.
I think trenchers are good.
Right.
They're just slightly overcost.
They are expensive. I'm not saying they're not expensive. But I feel like they could get a lot of work done in that list, so it's a list where they're worth like 10 to 13 points.
Yeah.
And they protect Haley. Like, that just seems good.
Actually really, I really like trenchers in her list. I mean, they used to be just absolutely, back in Mark 1, they were devastating, where there's just a really simple formula. Just like they move forward and shoot things, and on a feat turn, they ruin you. Funnily enough, you oftentimes with her actually run, oh wait, no you don't. You can actually trencher commandos with her are also not so bad, because you can actually get the scatter guns to work. Because you can, with the trencher commandos, actually this is actually something that I have not play tested, but I've always wanted to do, is trencher commandos with Finn and her, because then all the sprays become Rat 9 sprays, and they get to anatomical precision with 2 attacks. So you can actually, you can just have a single trencher engage 2 single wound models and just go stab with desperate pace. So they're threading 11 with 2 auto deaths on their attacks. Like they can remove a lot of models very quickly for 9 points if you run Finn also for the extra attack on the range attacks and speed on the Desperate Pace. And of course Finn's not an asshole himself, but if you do that, then that's a 12-point boat. That's slightly adjustable because you can add in 1 point scattergunners or not. But
I think I just made my whole day make sense. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to think of anything else but this. I'm just going to go buy it.
Spence built the list in Warroom, and now he's just Googling it.
Actually,
I get to play things in Cygnar that I don't hate.
I think the not 6 Hunter build might be better, but at least
What's the not
against
600
most
build?
things, you get Blazers instead of the Hunters.
So I take 2 hunters out and take Blazers.
Right. Or you drop your third unit of Gun Mages and one of the Hunters, and you get Blazers and like a solo.
What's the solo do?
He's a okay version of the UA for
So
2 points.
he just doesn't give them.
Except, he doesn't buff the units.
There's
so
no
it's like,
synergy? Okay.
Yeah, he has to aim to ignore stealth because he's got like arcane precision or whatever.
I don't like I just have an extra unit of gun mages sitting around.
Yeah,
but
he's just a bad version of a cheaper model. It's literally, but he's a non-character bad version of a cheaper model.
Ooh, I wonder if I could do this.
No, you can't.
I can't.
Anyway, any closing arguments on Cygnar? Fall asleep here.
They're bad. You shouldn't use them.
This topic is killing me.
okay. I just
Why? Because they're not red?
all right.
Yeah,
Here it
they're
is.
not red
Okay,
enough.
this is the Haley list. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and it uses only things people don't see, but they're all good in Cygnar, and they're better with Haley. Weird
I'm liking
Weird
this.
weird Haley. Okay, so it's what we said before. Haley, Squire, Hunter, Rowdy, Jake's the 2 hunters, Strangeways with 1 hunter. Then I dropped the Rangers for Maxwell Finn, Min Commandos with 2 Scattergunners, and then 2 Stormsmith Storm Towers.
Do you still have the long gunners?
No, long gun,
Okay.
long
I was
gunners and
like,
Rangers.
And
I'm
long
Sorry,
gunners?
I've skipped that part. I'm also.
Gotcha.
You could also take the Storm Towers out for.
What about just normal trenchers? Because what is their order they do? Do they get to dig in or they get to throw smoke in addition
They
to
get
attack?
either.
They can walk up, throw smoke, and
I'm
shoot?
99%
No, they
sure.
they move up, do normal activation, then dig in.
Are you sure it's dig? Oh,
With the UA.
Digging in is still fine because you can't charge them and you can't shoot them. So,
let's see. It says you
Pretty
get
sure
to.
you can charge them.
no, Haley. Temporary.
Yeah, it says dig in only. It's just that special action. So you wouldn't
Is it
do
you could-
Finn. You'd have 2 points. So if you did full trencher unit with officer and sniper, you'd have 2 points left over. You could just do like double grenadier at that point. Double
Sure.
grenades.
Because I don't know how you dislodge that unit without, like, hunter shooting. Like, because you just walk up, you skim off the front line and say, okay, now I'm going to put my hunters into your heavies. And say, go.
Also, the trenchers just they hit with POW 11, so they go to POW 12s on Rat +2. You have to lose the Rangers with the trenchers because they're more expensive, but
Right. But to be fair, what's their rat normally?
the base is 5.
Do you have to move with that order? Do you have the option of aiming?
Says
Does it say must make an advance and do this?
must make a full advance.
I would drop 2 of the hunters, add in Blazers, add in Ace.
I like Ace with Sons of the Tempest, but I sometimes just want more hunters.
I agree with that. But if I'm going to throw if I throw the Blazers in there, that leaves me 7 points. So I could leave a hunter and then have 1 point floating. Or I could just get Ace. And it's
Here's the
more
funny
thematic.
thing about this list, guys. When you
Yeah.
deploy this list, if you do the Trencher Infantry version or the Trencher Commando version, you only actually deploy Strangeways, Jake's, Old Rowdy, Squire, Haley,
5 models.
Yeah. and then
5 model normal
all
deployments.
the hunters and all the trenchers are out and about.
My Kane 2 list is 52 infantry, and only Kane deploys.
As far as infantry.
Everything else
Oh,
has
because he's
AD.
running an AD. Dumb. Can you actually play everything AD? Because I know Ashland Steam Force lets her AD, but I don't know if she's required to take stuff that doesn't. Because her Thief Force gives her, like, entire battle group AD.
Yeah, her battle group is AD.
But I don't know if the theme requires you to play non-AD models. I don't think it does.
I think she has to have gun mages.
I think she's allowed to take gun mages. I don't think she's required.
I think she has to have 2 units.
Here's the problem with doing something like commandos, or actually trenchers do better at that. One of the reasons why the long gunners are excellent is because they can choose to either ruin every single non-stealth infantry model, or just take giant chunks out of big models.
Mhm.
Like, that's the thing that commandos and trenchers, to a lesser extent, can do. Trenchers are going to do it as well, probably on the feet turn if you're moving forward, but not every other turn. I guess I'll have to just play the math and see if the 4 hunters boosting all the damage rolls is you just don't need more of that, and it's fine. You just don't need long gunners.
It kind of depends. I think Haley, if you build it that way, has to be an all-comers list. If you wanted to build an armor-breaking list, I think the 4 hunters is a good base, and then I would slide in, like, hammer doors on Murdoch, and then maybe squeeze in Finn, and then, like, Ragman. That's what Max has been doing when he's been playing Haley 1. He likes hammer doors, I think.
That's an interesting call. Yeah. You can't really shoot him down when you arcane shield him.
Right. You can't shoot him down. You can't shoot Ragman because he just shunts to the arcane shielded doors right next to him. He walks up Death Fields, and you come in with PAL 13 dwarves on charges, and it does work. Especially when you've already softened them up with some hunter bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you time the feet right, the extra attacks.
Yeah, the extra attack because they're faction.
Right.
It can be really strong. I think that's probably how I would play Haley 1, was to break all the armor. And then my other list would be standard infantry. Because I was talking with Max about this when we saw the ADR list, it was like Kane 2, Haley 1 was on it. I told him I thought you should build Haley 1 to break armor because she naturally kills infantry. And you should build Kane 2 to kill infantry because he naturally breaks some armor. Where most Cygnar casters don't.
Kane 2?
Because he can take a heavy off the table by himself. And against a lot of lists, you only really need to deal with the one heavy, and you can ignore a second one for a long time with gun mages.
Mm-hmm.
So he assassinates one of their heavies. You make the other one not relevant to the game, and then everything else in your list. I mean, you can play some anti-armor, but I would lean more towards your generic Cygnar list, which is I have like gun mages, long gunners maybe, just some normal stuff that you might take. Storm walls, pretty fine.
But Trencher Commandos.
You can take. I'm talking about Kane 2. You want to take Trencher Commandos with Kane 2?
No, I was.
Okay.
I'm just saying. But Trencher Commandos.
Okay. Cobra Commander.
I was once a man.
Does Kane 2 have blur, or is only Kane 1?
Kane 1 has blur. Kane 2 also has blur. Yes, they both have blur.
Okay. I have no idea how happy I am.
So
right
you
now.
could blur like some blazers or something. They could be really aggressive and go like shoot some people.
Our blazers are good and stuff.
Ooh, you could take Storm Lances with him.
You know why he knows Blur?
Because it's his spell.
No. It's Magnus' spell.
And he's Magnus's bro.
Magnus is journeyman for a while, wasn't he?
Yep.
So why can't he cast like Obliteration?
Ooh, or what's the other good spell? Temperamental.
Yeah, why can't he cast Temperamental?
Actually, if Kane could cast...
Why isn't he... why isn't he resourceful?
Actually, if Kane could cast...
Why doesn't he have Calamity?
Oh, Kane with Calamity would be sweet.
Because Magnus learned Calamity after.
Oh. Why can't he cast Temperamental?
Because he was in prison.
That makes no sense.
Is this
Kane
the game?
went into prison.
All right, let's transition over to Game of Thrones.
Completely study with Magnus.
No.
All right,
Yep,
so this
Game of
is...
Thrones.
This is Parker signing off.
Parker, it's Game of Thrones time.
What? No, it's not. Winter has come. Winter has come. Winter has come. I'm done.
We'll talk about it.
Wait, did you say Vinter has come?
Vinter has come. Vinter has come.
Vinter is coming.
Did you hear that Voyle teamed up with Vinter and joined Khador? Vinter joined up.
Could you imagine,
with Voyle, and they joined?
Could you imagine, like, Railthorn's face, like when he reads that letter? He's like, oh no.
He's like, Commandant, there's this Menoth priest guy outside. He's like, I told Sevi he couldn't come here anymore. He goes outside.
Actually, I think it'd be better if Vinter got together with Voyle and went to Khador.
They're like, we need 10,000.
And they all got into some. And him and Iris got in some sort of horrible car accident, and the car accident was found by Lich Lord Terminus, and so he just Terminus just ate them and just made them part of himself.
I'm just saying there could have been an amazing sitcom called Victor, Voyle, and Vlad.
What did you say?
It's terrible.
Victor, Voyle, and Vlad.
Victor, Boyle, and Vlad. Victor, Boyle, and Vlad. 3 kooky characters.
There's entirely too many
together in
cooks.
Cygnar.
And then Sorsha could be like the one that nags them all the time. It'd be great.
Get down
I
to
like-
my castle.
I love the idea of Fiora knocking on the door and like sticking her head in. Vlad.
She always like, is it hot in here?
This
That's
is
terrible.
the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, we're trying to make a sitcom of this. Where's Card Chef and all this?
Is
Probably all killing
The thing is,
people.
I bet-
it's like what he does.
Can Stryker be like Dennis the Menace, where he comes over and they're like, "Get off my lawn"?
I hate Stryker so much.
Every episode he breaks an electrical appliance.
Stryker.
We're gonna need Nemo! And he comes and he's like, Great Scott, what's going on?
Great Scott. Scott. He is Doc.
There's literally no difference. There's no discernible fucking difference.
Alright, I'm done with this. I can't do
Can
this
Stryker be
anymore.
Marty, though?
No.
Come on, Doc!
No.
Great.
One more thing. The last thing I'll say. P. Nemo is good. Everyone, I think, should try him. Any Cygnar player out there, if you haven't tried him yet,
Mute!
get you some P. Nemo. Not kidding.
No, P. Nemo's
Yeah.
good.
Dynamo. I just like Nemo, Silas, Dynamo, Old Rowdy, and then something else. It like that core is so strong. It's really, 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 really good. I was so amazed by how good Dynamo and Old Rowdy are as a pair with him. It's really silly good, actually. When Old Rowdy grudges and electrifies, and you know they can only charge you with one thing, it is the most hilarious shit.
This has been Brandon.
Jeremy.
I'm Parker.
I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you, Spence. You do it.
He
I-
just
I
signed
No,
Son
he
of
always
Parker.
signs out as me. He always signs out as me. He's like, this is a fucking great joke. I'm always going to sign out as
This has
Parker.
been Corey.
I think it's hilarious. That's all that
This is a
matters.
great fucking joke.
Parker, why
I'm
don't you
Parker.
fucking sign
My
out?
name is Parker.
Hi, my name is Parker. I'm signing out, yo.
Identity theft is a real crime, Jim.
And then, if you're going to be in my department, you're going to do what I say and follow my orders.
This is Parker
I
signing
think we should have a whole session where we just act like we're cops who are in trouble. Like, we go talk to the lieutenant. He's like, "Listen, Lieutenant, I know he's trafficking." And then, okay, I'm sorry.
We're all dirty cops. We're all trying to tell on each other.
You know, we're all trying to convince one another that one another are dirty, but we all already know we are. Actually, I was made to watch many hours of the show, The Community today, or Community.
Community's okay.
Holy shit, I laughed my ass off.
I never got to see the end of the show because I stopped using cable or whatever.
Like every episode, it's like they'll tell a joke, but they won't let it die, and it just keeps going and going. And it's like that's my favorite kind of humor. It's like at no point was it really funny,
Wait,
but they just won't stop.
you lying hypocritical son of a bitch!
What do you mean?
You said you didn't like Archer because the jokes were repetitive.
No, I didn't like Archer because I got the joke in episode 1.
How's
they-
that any different
if
than
they-
what you just fucking said?
If they ever tell me another joke, we'll care. I do think Moonbeam
So-
City is better, though.
So you like it when the joke wasn't funny, but they keep saying it over and over.
Yes, because the joke
But
is
when
not.
they say it when you just thought the joke wasn't funny, that's not okay, and they say it over and over, I'm confused.
No. Archer's jokes are funny.
Okay.
The thing is, on
So
Archer,
you're saying Archer would be better if the jokes weren't funny?
I think the joke.
Because that's what you said.
Yes, I think the joke being the fact that they're telling unfunny jokes. Like Scrubs was hilarious, and 99% of Scrubs was not funny. It's just the fact that they would not stop telling the joke. That was the joke. Why are we still recording?
Goodbye, Parker.
Bye,
Parker.
bye, guys. I love you very much.
Goodbye.
It's funny that you mentioned about Haley because I just made a weird. I've been making weird lists with Haley, and I just made a weird one the other day that I think is really interesting. We can run it by you too. Basically, what happened with me and Cygnar is recently I acquired my 4th hunter so that I could play the Tempest, Sons of the Tempest, and Ace. And so now I've been building other casters with 4 hunters to see what that does to the meta. Like, can you actually eliminate heavies at ranged fast enough if you have 4 hunters in your list? And as it turns out, you totally fucking can. And I didn't believe it for a while. Jeremy Constance once told me that he thought that would just be really strong. I didn't believe it, so I didn't do it. Because I just didn't go out and shell it, or couldn't fit him into a list. So I came up with a Haley list that runs 4 hunters.
Doesn't she let them shoot again, too?
Yes.
Right, and so the Haley list I ran is actually one that lets you do fully both. Basically, it allows you to do all 4 hunters fully boosted shots on the feat turn. So you get basically 2 rounds of shooting fully boosted hunters.
Holy fuck. That's really strong.
Like fully boosted for damage, and then you get +4 to hit because you run Rangers with Temporal Barrier. So you get +4. It's like being double boosted, only it's actually better than double boosted because you get 4, and you're doing it against heavy bases. Usually don't need it. You're just rolling critical miss checks and fully boosted. You're getting 8 fully boosted for damage shots, and there's just some more points left in for other stuff. I can show you the list. I'm really excited about it. I want to run it soon.
No, this is Haley 1.
It's Haley
right?
1, yeah. It's something I'm considering doing really seriously, actually. So we could talk about my weird Cygnar I'm going to run. Basically, it started with Sons of the Tempest, and then it's kind of branched into other stuff that I want to do with Cygnar, including Haley 1 and P-Cane and E-Cane. That could be something we could do if we want to talk about Cygnar. Because I came here with ammo for Cygnar, basically.
You always have ammo for Cygnar.
I was thinking we talk about Scorn.
Then I'll see you guys later. Have a nice night. I'm going to...
I'll just hit stop right now. And
Everybody hates Scorn.
I don't hate Scorn. I just don't.
It's only because they're bad.
I just don't care to talk about them. Actually, I could talk about the Hydra all day. I love the Hydra.
Why?
It's a glorious, glorious model. It's going to be scary as shit. I do not want to see the Hydra across from me. No, not one.
Tell me why.
Not one little bit.
Tell me why.
Because it can do way too many attacks for the amount of buff you can give it. Like, it's a nutty number of attacks for the amount of buff you can give it. And there's so many of their casters can deliver it well and give it buffs already. They have like 3 casters that can buff it really hard. I'm really scared of it, actually. It's not going to be a broken model. It's not going to be a broken model. It's just, it's the only, in my opinion, it's the only super strong gargantuan. And I say that knowing that the troll gargantuans are dumb as shit with half the troll models, but I still believe it's the most stupid one. It has the potential.
You pluralize troll gargantuans there?
Yeah, because there's more than one.
Oh, they fixed the other one.
Right, they fixed the other one.
Okay. I'm really curious about the Hydra being good.
I think it's very, very, very good because of the amount of attacks it can make. Because after having played,
So it's 10 attacks.
after having played Typhon, I could tell you that Typhon, people lament Typhon because he's missing some basically Legion players lament Typhon because like, but he doesn't have all the Legion things. Like, I ignore all the game, and you're like, but when you look at what Typhon can do over the course of a turn, nothing can do the kind of things that Typhon can do. And because Sporn has a few casters that buff the Hydra, like a few of the casters in Legion buff Typhon, like I know, like PVL Typhon is broken as shit, and you can get a similar effect in Scorn really easily with many of their casters. Heck, one of their units kind of just gives him +2 strength, so it's like,
I don't know. I'm trying to compare it across at Titans and whatnot, but I see what you mean. It gives you options. It has reach inherently. That big ass base, you can probably hit a bunch of things with a lot of those attacks. So as opposed to just being a bunch of attacks like a bronze bat can make on one thing,
It pretty much kills everything in a 9-inch circle. You say everything within this 9-inch circle is dead
yeah, I could see
with
that.
multiple.
so
casters.
are we tired? Are we too tired to do Cygnar?
No,
Or
I'm
not?
fine. Well, I mean, I'm not going to contribute a whole lot with Cygnar other than saying that Epic Cane is bad.
Why is Epic Cane bad?
I don't like him.
I understand.
I just think the list that people build for him is super fucking boring because it's the same shit every time.
So
I understand that he looks fun to play, but he is the list. And I feel like people refuse to get outside of the exact cookie cutter thing that one person did with him once. And so, like, everyone has played him that way forever. When you could actually play him different ways.
So you're saying it's not him that's bad. It's the people playing him currently are only playing him.
I was actually starting to get excited about Cygnar because I thought they were actually getting out of the stupid sinkhole of the same 2 lists over and over and over and over again. Because it was Haley 2, Kane 2 forever, and then it was Haley 2 Siege forever, because that was what the meta needed, and then it just kept going into the same boring shit forever. And now I feel like to the point where they're actually shaking things up, and Kane 2 is the last thing that helps that. Because when you see the Kane 2 list, it's the cookie cutter Kane 2 list, where it's like the same Merc models spammed everywhere to do the exact same thing.
What's changing? What's changing that's making them shake things up?
The fact that Haley got nerfed, I think, was the biggest boon to Cygnar in a long time.
So it kind of just shook people out of
Right,
it.
so people are playing like the Nemos, people are playing Haley 1, people are playing anything but Haley 2, Kane 2, or Haley 2
I
Siege.
really like my Nemo 1 and Nemo 3 list right now. I really like this Haley 1 list and all the P-Kane lists I've been playing recently. I've really been enjoying all that.
Not to mention the new releases that will come out now that Haley has been slightly adjusted. Right. I still think she's a little strong, but she at least has bad matchups.
As soon as
Well, let's just call this a mini episode.
Sure. No, I think we could hammer one out.
I don't think we. I mean, if we don't want to do this, then we can. Just, I mean, it's 11:30. We can say we got one episode done. I don't need to talk about Cygnar.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing if we hammer one out real quick. We're already here. We got everything set up.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about the state. Let's go on with what we're doing right now. Let's continue with what we were talking about, the state of Cygnar as it is. Then, how about that?
I was gonna say if you could just talk about,
because we're doing that. He has some ideas that he wants to throw out there. I'd like to actually hear what you're going on here right now about how Cygnar's been doing this over and over. Let's go on
let's
with
talk
this.
about how Cygnar has started digging into their pockets and they're finding change.
I like it. Okay, so Parker, what are you doing different than what I sit down and see every?
Wait, are we starting the
Cygnar
episode like
player
this, or
play?
do we start it like the regular episode? I don't know how this works.